already know the drill. We back again with another episode of Buckle Up with the Boys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So strap on your seatbelts, cause it's all pedal to the metal from here. And without further ado, your amazing host, Drew Billy.
Welcome back to another episode of Buckle Up with the Boys, here with your host, Drew Billy and Trevor Dinsmore.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Augusta National Golf Club, or in our case, Buckle Up with the Boys podcast.
Oh, it is a pleasure to have you here tonight, Trevor. Have everybody join us. A lot of things we got to uncover here. Masters, like you already talked about. We got NCAA, NFL. We're going to do a little thing different tonight. Trevor's going to start us off with some important news out there. So you take it away, my friend.
Yes, the most important bit of news that I have this evening. Do you remember post-Super Bowl, I bet on the Niners, and I had gone into a fit of rage. Did I tell this story on this podcast? I told this, yes, about my pitching wedge.
I don't think.
No? Okay. So long story short, ladies and gentlemen, at the onset of the end of the Super Bowl, and bear in mind, I'd put a lot of money on the San Francisco 49ers, and I was high on them going into that event. And you can, that's well documented on this program even. So to say I was upset would be an understatement at the result of that game. And long story short, my pitching wedge suffered a bit of an accident, as in I smashed it over my home bar and it broke in half, but I have a new one now.
Oh, boy. Very nice.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
$90 used off of eBay.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, I was going to say, not bad, especially for the prices nowadays. You get it probably a few years ago or even close to pre-COVID. It's probably more like 60 or 70, but even still. With, inflation and all that, we don't have to get into that. $90 used, but, still, it'll do for me. Doesn't matter if it's used or if it's not used for me. It usually goes to the right and off to into the trees anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Right.
But anyway, like Drew said, other than the Masters, a lot of stuff going down. A lot of stuff going down recently. A lot of stuff in the college basketball world as well. I first want to touch on, and Drew, I know you mentioned you wanted to touch on this, the national championship game, the UConn Huskies repeating, winning over Purdue 75-60, and seemingly just cruising to another national title, winning their games this season in the tournament by an average of 23.3 points. Absolutely insane. It was no contest every single game. Far and away the most highest margin of victory in NCAA tournament history. They won their games by a combined 140 points. The next closest was the 2009 North Carolina Tar Heels team that won their tournament games combined by 125 points. So, and bear in mind, UConn won their games in last year's tournament by an average of 20 points. So to say that this 2-year run stacks up with the best that's ever been in college basketball, you have a legitimate argument there. And I found this little nugget too in an ESPN article right before we got on the show here. And I quote, no other team in NCAA history has won all 6 NCAA tournament games by 13 or more. That never happened before UConn did it in back-to-back seasons.
Oh, damn.
And not only that, they were the first repeat national champions since the Joakim Noah days in Florida, 06 and 07, if you remember those. And, of course, the 91-92 Mike Krzyzewski Duke team. That team, by the way, had 8 players drafted into the NBA. That's how good that team was, and that's how good this UConn team is.
Right.
12 straight wins in the national tournament, 30-plus wins in each of those 2 years. It is utterly insane.
Yeah.
If you would have gone chalk, if you would have gone chalk in this year's NCAA tournament, you were prosperous.
Yep.
And to that, and to those that did that, I salute them, because I did not go chalk. I did not pick UConn at all. I even picked Purdue a couple of times and was honestly rooting for Purdue. Didn't have any money on the game. Was working a little late. Didn't happen to get my bets in on time. But yeah, to say I'm surprised, not very, but I'm surprised at the level at which they're doing it. It is, it's up there with the best of them. And not only that, they lost a lot of guys year over year. I think they lost 3 or 4 key guys from last year's team turning over to this year's team. I couldn't name them for you, but I know they lost some players from last season to this season, and still pulled off a more dominant tournament run than they did last season. Utterly insane. So I'm in awe, and I need to, and I think we all sometimes need to learn to appreciate greatness when we're watching it. As much as, we hate the Chiefs and the Patriots for their dynasties and all that good stuff. At the same time, we need to learn to appreciate greatness and appreciate the UConn Huskies national champions for back-to-back seasons.
Right.
Yeah.
I just got to say, hate Hurley, but I'll tell you, to have it 2 years in a row now, Trevor, at the dominance that they're doing, it's impressive as shit. I mean, you got to give him his flowers, and but hell, they might be there again next year. You never know. And I know the critics are already probably ready to get on the list about that, saying that, oh well, they're probably doing three-peat. I don't think that's ever been a thing in college basketball. I maybe need to look that up. But...
UCLA back in the 70s.
Oh,
yeah. With Lou Alcindor, John Wooden. Yeah, kind of nuts. Bill Walton.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So back then. Since then, no. I think it's just been a couple of back-to-backs, and that's been it. There's a lot of. It's a 68-team tournament, bear in mind. I mean, I know technically 64, but you got those 4 playing games, makes it 68, right? Yes, 68. So year over year, chances are you're not going to have a repeat national champion, just based on the math in and of itself. But when you have a team this good and this consistent and can recruit this well and get guys out of the transfer portal this well, there's something to be said for building equity in college basketball, and UConn's doing it right now. Not only that, they've done it with the women's team for years, and now the men's team coming around as well.
I got to give them their flowers, and there's the next one with the women's side. That's what I'm going to get real spicy about.
You want to get spicy right now?
Yeah, we can do it.
Yeah, you want to get spicy about South Carolina going undefeated?
No, not that.
Not that? What are you getting spicy about? Iowa?
About how I don't think people, and I know I'm going to get shit for this, and that's fine. I don't think people are appreciating what they were able to watch over the 4 years of Caitlin Clark's career, and this season primarily. Hate her or love her, she's fucking good, man. I mean,
oh no, hands down, one of the top college athletes.
I mean, without a doubt.
Period. Ever. Yeah. Period.
I mean,
one of the most dominant college athletes in their sport.
Yeah.
It's a shame she wasn't able to translate that into a national title, but. It is what it is. Again, going back to appreciating greatness, freaking appreciate Caitlin Clark, please.
That's what I'm saying. And here's the thing too, watching her.
Yes.
And I've never. I'm gonna be the first to say it. Never really watched women's basketball unless it was a national championship, unless it was on right after, whatever the hell it might be. But I didn't go out of my way. This year, I try to watch every one of her games.
Oh, yes.
Her touch with the passes and her shots, Trevor. Never fucking seen that before. No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yep. A lot of people throwing comps to her. Steph Curry of women's college ball.
I mean,
Rightfully so. And I know I've said it on this program many times before, but it's true. It's true. And yeah, she might have, the attitude problems off the court, on the court, arguing with refs and complaining and,
right.
Being up by 30 points and still getting angry about stuff. But I don't know, man. She's just an alpha sometimes to a fault. That's kind of how I view it. And if you're translating that into what she's going to do, translate it into a hopefully long, lengthy, prosperous, and monetarily wealthy WNBA career.
Right.
Now, I know there's not a ton of money in the WNBA right now. Hopefully, that league starts to grow a little bit, and hopefully Caitlin Clark is one of the catalysts. I'd like to see that happen.
Right. And I'll tell you, this team, it's going to be cool for people that us, Trevor, we never got to see, and I'm not comparing her to Jordan. I don't want people to go take it.
No. I mean, it's a whole different game. Men's and women's sports. There's a reason why they exist.
Right.
We're talking in terms of greatness relative to peers. That's when we throw out the Steph Curry comps. That's why you're throwing out the potential MJ comp.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. But people that we didn't get to watch Jordan play. And he kind of just took over polarized fucking basketball. And I think 20 years from now, kids will be like, talking to us, or, you might have kids, whoever, younger relatives. You get to see Caitlin Clark and you're like, let me take a seat right here. And let me tell you what, this girl was fucking special. The 30 for 30.
Oh, yeah.
And the inspiration she had to young girls and young athletes. It's boys and girls. It's, she deserves a goddamn flower. So everybody just hop off for a little bit. That's all I had to say. It just bothered me. Social media just...
Again, appreciate greatness. People are going to nitpick at things to hate about a person. That's what people did with Jordan. That's what people do with LeBron. And yes, they're under, big time media scrutiny. They're always under a microscope, and everything that they do and everything that they say is under a microscope.
Yep.
So people are going to try to find character flaws. You know why? Because they could never be that great themselves.
That's Chelsea. Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's what a lot of it is. So she's taught me in a lot of ways, just like even, and I'll admit it, the Chiefs too, dynasties like that are starting to develop. Just appreciate greatness while you're watching it.
Yep.
I can never do that with the Patriots, but that's an aside.
Right. And I just hope Iowa basketball still gets, and the coach even said in her press conference, I watched it earlier, I just hope that they still get the support, even though she's gone after this year, because they deserve it.
Yeah.
So
agreed. She's raised the equity of that program to unseen heights.
Yep.
Hopefully they're able to sustain that through their recruiting, through the transfer portal, and hopefully they're able to attract some big time athletes to their program. And who knows, maybe get the next Caitlin Clark right back in there. That'd be the ideal scenario. Very tough to get generational stars in your program back to back. We've seen it happen, but it's few and far between.
Yeah.
Like you said, hopefully at least the equity of that program is raised up enough to where not only does it elevate Iowa, does it elevate Iowa athletics, but it elevates, women's basketball and collegiate athletics as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's all I had to say about that. But
likewise. Yeah, nothing but good vibes with Caitlin Clark. Yeah. And again, let's appreciate greatness. South Carolina going undefeated. What was it, 38, 39-0, somewhere in something like that.
Right.
Absolutely nuts, that program.
Yeah, no hate. Dawn Staley, some people critique her. She's a basketball mind. I don't give a shit.
Critique her for what? She went 39-0.
I know. I don't know. Everybody.
She was literally perfect. Like, how can you criticize that? I don't know.
Yeah, it's just funny to me. It's funny. She's also the women's USA basketball coach too. So I mean, she's involved in the sport and helping the sport grow. And I hope I'll tell you right now, after Caitlin Clark, I'll tell you right now, I'll be watching more women's basketball. I don't care about the quality. I'm watching it.
Yeah,
I'm
and
invested.
you viewing it, fans like you viewing it, buying the merchandise, buying tickets. That's what's going to elevate this thing. That's how it goes. It's not going to be, you know, some women going on screen on televisions and saying, "Oh, we deserve equal pay."
Right.
Earn it.
Right.
There's a reason that the NBA, NHL, NFL, that those athletes make millions of dollars every year. They draw money.
Right.
And women's basketball is starting to draw. Let's keep that rolling.
Yes. 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 But you know, I'm just trying to. Oh yeah, you keep going. Yeah, you keep going, Trevor.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, I'm good on that.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So something that unfortunately brought some raw emotions out of one of our co-hosts that hasn't been on here in a while, Nate Stice, big Kentucky fan. Obviously disappointed by the early exit against Oakland this past tournament. But more news on top of that, John Calipari finalizing a 5-year deal with the Arkansas Razorbacks, saying that Kentucky needs a new voice. And to me, after, you know, a couple of embarrassing defeats these last couple seasons, them not getting too far in the tournament over the last 5 years, I can understand it. Yes. Sometimes the message gets stale. Sometimes, you know, you're just shouting into an echo chamber and all you can hear is yourself, whether that was happening at Kentucky or whether it was just a product of them getting a bunch of one-and-dones and inexperience in the tournament from a player perspective. Any way you look at it, it seemed to be time.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that it was, because Kentucky had a good one, man. One of the best college basketball coaches of all time at really all levels of collegiate basketball. At Kentucky, won 410 games, lost 123. Not bad at all.
No.
Not bad at all. The man had 21 20-win seasons and 9 30-win seasons during his tenure there. 2012 national champion with that Anthony Davis team that was just stupid good. Stupid good. Ran through Notre Dame even, I believe. So back when, you know, Notre Dame had the likes of Pat Connaughton, they could actually make a run.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then a few other Final Fours on top of that. 3-time Naismith Coach of the Year, 2015 Basketball Hall of Fame inductee, 6-time SEC Tournament Champion, 4 times CUSA Tournament Champion, and 5 times won the A-10. 2015 AP College Coach of the Year, 2-time Basketball Coach of the Year, coached 6 teams to the NIT and actually won it with Memphis back in 2002 in his early days. So even from his early days, you could see he was developing into something great. And he's long credited with establishing what's known now as the platoon system, which means you have a set of 5 guys on the court, 3 guards, 2 bigs, and then you substitute a whole another set in there, and then you cycle those guys in and out. He's known as the innovator of that, and obviously he wrote it to a great success and a great tenure while with the Wildcats. But he's on to a new venture with the Razorbacks, still staying in the SEC and looking to elevate a program that was kind of, you know, forgotten in a very stacked SEC this year. Although, you know, when I say stacked SEC, I obviously mean regular season. I don't mean in the tournament. Minus Alabama and Tennessee, I guess. But those were the 2 exceptions to the rule for the SEC in the NCAA tournament this year. But yeah, especially, you know, he's got the gym named after him in Clarion, and a Clarion native and alum, Clarion University alum. I got to give my flowers to Calipari. I got to give my condolences and, you know, not so warm feelings to Nate Stice and all Kentucky fans out there. Hopefully they're able to find, you know, somebody half as good as John Calipari, because if they do, they'll be just fine. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see where that leaves the balance of power in the SEC as well, because that is obviously been an up-and-coming conference in college basketball for several years now. And who knows, it could get even deeper with Calipari going to the Razorbacks.
Yeah, no, and it's just to cover the whole thing there, Trevor. Eric Musselman he goes to USC. That kind of go. This is another piece to. I always like to use an onion. There's another layer to the onion here. But Calipari,
Sure.
I'll tell you something. I don't have the number in front of me how many NBA players came out of when he was coaching at Kentucky, but the amount of young men's lives that he changed and taught the game of basketball the right way, not the fucking wrong way.
It's a who's who of guys that are in the NBA right now. Just guys off the top of my head. You got your Anthony Davises, you got your Kyrie Irvings, hell, Tyrese Maxey. Just strong, fundamental, talented guys that know how to play pro ball. And he just breeded them while at Kentucky. Like I said, a lot of one and dones, but that's because the man attracted talent.
And one thing, and I know people gave him shit when that was all starting.
The one and dones. Yeah.
I appreciate
and I was included in that bunch. I'll be the first to admit it.
Right. I mean, at the time, I was criticized. Like, oh, you go to Kentucky, you don't even. They're helping you pick out an apartment. You're not even going to class.
Yeah,
they're helping.
Right. Right.
But I liked how he ran his program. Trevor Woods. Okay, you're fucking really good. You can go to that next level. I'm not going to keep you here 3 years. If you want to go do it. Start your life. Help your family, and that speaks credit to him. And it's good to see that he is not far from where our hometowns. Went to Clarion, and I mean, it's pretty fucking. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Representing our community very well, I can assure you of that.
Yeah, no, and the other thing, Pitt native. You know what I mean? So
yes, sir.
That also attracts me to him and how he talked about his father working in the steel mill and wanting to change his life. And I have no issues with Calipari. So,
no, the more I've gotten to know what he's about, who he is, and the things that he does for the athletes and people around him in his programs, the deeper I've gotten into the belly of the beast, so to speak, in terms of what type of person he is, what type of coach he is. I have nothing but the utmost respect for him, and I hope he does well at Arkansas. I hope he elevates that program to the heights that Kentucky was.
Yep.
So where that leaves Kentucky, we shall see. They might be looking for a change in philosophy. I don't know. I don't exactly know who they're eyeing up as head coaches right now. They're just waiting for the whole Calipari thing to kind of subside, and then they're going to be looking for a head coach. Or I could be very wrong that they could announce a new head coach tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see where that leaves Kentucky.
I thought he would retire there. I'm just really shocked by this even being a thing.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. He's either going to retire, or the Kentucky is going to give him a year or two more, and then he's going to retire. I did not think he'd be signing a new long-term 5-year deal. But if the Razorbacks, woo pig, if they want to pay him, go for it.
Right.
He's worth it. Trust me.
Yeah. No, it's something. That's all I got on him. Wish him luck, and we'll see what the fuck happens next year. But I'm really going to be watching who Kentucky hires. That's going to be
Good. Oh yeah, that'll be the talk of the town. So wanted to transition in. We just had some good vibes with UConn, Iowa, South Carolina, and Calipari, talking a little bit of college basketball there. I'm going to bring the mood back down a little bit. We just witnessed a certain solar event that's not due to happen for another 20 plus years. And bear in mind, Drew Billy, we will be in our late 40s by the next time this happens.
Right.
Solar eclipse happened the other day. Actually, yesterday. While I was working, it got real fucking dark outside.
Yes, it did.
Because, the moon was covering the sun, and if you stared too long into it with your bare eyes, you would have damaged your retinas to the point of damn near blindness. Yeah. Thankfully, I did not do that. The main path of it to where you would actually see the full moon covering the sun, I believe ran through Erie, so a little bit north of me. Right. You might have gotten you were probably a little bit closer into the range of seeing the full moon cover the sun there.
Yeah, no, it just got like 3 o'clock, just pitch black, and I'm like, oh fuck,
Oh,
here
yeah.
we go. Here we go.
Yep.
And I didn't see the shit though because it was too cloudy, so that kind of killed the vibe.
Yeah, that'll do it as well. But
Yeah.
regardless,
Yes.
and this is another thing that I took from the Rich Eisen show.
Mhm.
If you couldn't tell, I watch him a lot, and I draw a lot of inspiration in what I do on this program from his analysis on his own show. So they did this segment where they went through each of the guys that were sitting on the set, and they were discussing moments, specifically sports moments, that they would love to eclipse from history, meaning wipe it out,
Okay.
meaning butterfly effect, meaning this one thing happens differently, and then the rest of history is changed.
Okay.
So, and I know you don't watch a lot of hockey, so I won't make you go through the hockey one. I have my hockey one. I know that much. But I was going to go through each of the major sports because I know you're obviously a big NFL, NBA guy.
Yep.
Baseball to an extent, especially with some of the people that we've had on this program.
God bless him.
Doing well with the Blue Jays organization right now, Jeff Whaler.
Yes.
I did not grow out the mullet like I promised.
Oh,
Yeah, I even got a little haircut this past weekend. But anyway, so think of moments that you would like to eclipse from history. And I know mine. I'm going to start in soft. I'm going to start with baseball.
Okay.
2013 NLDS, Pirates Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
Pirates blow a 2-1 series lead in the middle of the Kutch, Russell Martin, Garrett Cole, that era of that team that was supposed to do great things, but for one reason or another, didn't pan out. Then obviously the subsequent couple years ran into a prime Jake Arrieta and prime Madison Bumgarner in the wild card game, and what happened. The window closed. But if that NLDS goes differently, we're able to make it to the NLCS, Pittsburgh baseball might be changed to this day.
Right.
Kutch might never leave. Pittsburgh fans might actually be passionate about their team instead of just criticizing the owner the whole time, myself included.
Yes.
And we'd have some packed fucking houses at PNC Park, I can assure you that. And that is a ballpark worthy of packing the house, man.
God damn it. Yes.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that the product on the field isn't as beautiful as the ballpark, which I will probably say that until my heart gives out. So, but anyway, your baseball moment that you would like to eclipse from history, if you have one. If not, I can move on because I got some good ones for you.
Yeah, one that.
And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be during your lifetime. All of mine are from my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
I just because I have an emotional touch to these. So,
right.
But yours, they can be whatever. Current, whatever.
I think it's not I would say, and it could be controversial because some people think it saved baseball in the night. The home run race. I wish I could eclipse and also Barry Bonds' record. And I know that's controversial. But I think if we didn't have that home run race, Trevor, I don't think it would be as heightened to potentially you could go over to steroids and we've seen it.
So wait, let me clarify here. So you're wiping out the home run race?
Right, wipe it out.
You're wiping it out.
Yep.
Wow.
Just my opinion. I think it tainted.
Yeah.
And I know there's one guy that's going to bitch at me when he watches.
No, I know.
But I think that opened the door to, we had Barry Bonds, the Barry Bond race. Okay, yeah. And we talk about this. His physique fucking changes completely. Mark McGuire's physique. Everybody knew it.
But, yes, of course.
And
knowing and proving are two different things. Yes.
And it's fucking cheating.
Yes.
I mean, one of my favorite baseball players, and I've never actually said this on the show, except Cheater. I love A-Rod, but I hate him that he fucking used steroids. I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate it. And even though he had the worst batting average that year, it was the worst of his career following that injury, if you look at it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I don't know. You might disagree with me on that. I just think it's fucking cheating, and we're rewarding guys that were literally just juicing.
Oh, yeah.
And then they, when they
Fair
got
enough.
they
Yeah.
made, it's a
Go
baseball,
off, King. Go off.
It's a baseball though, but
in the short term, at the very least, created some controversy in the long term. But mid '80s NBA was a bit controversial, but
yeah,
that'll happen. I'm not going to the NBA next because that one is probably the hottest and heaviest that I've ever been at a moment in time. I can assure you of that, and I think you know where I'm going with that one.
Yes.
But anyway, I'll cover my hockey one real quick, and then we'll talk NFL because there's a whole slew of them we can pick from the NFL just because of how close we are to the sport and how long-term Steeler fans we have been. And we've heard the stories of the '80s Steelers. They're not very pretty.
No.
But anyway, in the NHL, I am a fan of the Buffalo Sabres, a long-cursed franchise who is about to go through its 13th consecutive non-playoff season. Bear in mind, about a little over half the teams in the NHL make it, and we have not been in the top half of the NHL since 2011. Bear in mind, I was in 7th grade. Yeah, very, very rough. More on being cursed, even when we had a good team back in the 90s with your Dominic Hasek's, your Michael Pekka's, Pat LaFontaine, if you will, Miroslav Shatan, if you will. Very good teams. And hell, I even have an old goat head Dominator jersey in my closet. So, I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. I had a lot of high hopes coming into this season, and the Sabres of 1999 had a lot of high hopes as well. But in 1999, there was a rule. I don't agree with the rule, but I disagreed with the enforcement of it in this particular scenario, where you could not have a skate in the crease and shoot the puck into the net, be a disallowed goal.
Okay, yep.
Game 7, or no, excuse me, Game 6. Game 6, Stars, Sabres. Goes in overtime. Neck and neck game, I believe it was 1-1. Battle in front of the net. Brett Hull pokes the puck in the net with his foot in the crease. Stars celebrate. Everybody goes nuts. Stars win the Stanley Cup. No replay review at that time.
Right. Yeah, that's the beauty in it. Yeah.
Wasn't called. The one shot, the best shot, Sabres had at Glory, went up in smoke. But actually, transitioning off of that, I want to hear your football one before I say my football one, because it might have you in tears.
There's honorable mention, Jesse James.
Yes.
Yep.
Ooh, top 3 maddest I've been in my life.
Yep. Jesse James.
I dropped about 16 F-bombs in front of my grandparents, which I never swear in front of my grandparents, but I did that night. I apologized. I apologized the day after.
It was warranted. It still haunts me. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
And if any other fan of another team fucking says that, hey, shut the hell up, Jesse James didn't actually score that touchdown, I might fucking come on Hitch. You might need to bail me out, Trevor.
That's another case of, the rule was stupid, but it was enforced correctly.
It was enforced, yes.
Yeah.
But I would say one that I wish I erased, eclipsed. And this is for my Raider fans out there, tuck roll. Wish that never would have happened.
Giving a nod to the Raiders. Very nice of you. Yes.
I just watched that again for the second time. Bullshit. So, take it out.
Yeah. helped start the Patriots dynasty.
And that's why I
Stopped
hate it.
one dynasty and started another, some say.
Yes.
So, yeah, I get that one.
Mm-hmm.
I get that one. And as a Steeler fan, I've gone through my fair share of heartbreak. Super Bowl 45 to start, the Jesse James catch, Antonio Brown just going absolutely insane for one reason or another, and the Killer Bees not reaching their full potential.
Yeah.
Hell, Big Ben hurting his elbow and never being the same.
Yeah.
But the one that stands above the rest and the biggest, in my opinion, the biggest what if in modern Steelers history, what if Ryan Shazier never gets hurt?
And you and me are very serious about that.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Granted, he outlines it in his book, which very good book, by the way. Highly recommend it. Walking Miracle by Ryan Shazier. Go read it. It's great. And it's not a bad read either. 230 pages. Done. Yeah. Fairly quick. You can kill it within a week. He played hard. Played hard at Ohio State. Played hard in the NFL. And he hit hard.
Yeah.
And on that particular play against the Cincinnati Bengals, I didn't think he hit a guy pretty hard, but apparently he did enough to the point where it paralyzed him for a time. And obviously has not been on an NFL field since, doing a lot of great stuff off the field. But still, what if? What if he doesn't get hurt? Then our middle linebacking core isn't in shambles, arguably to this day. We still haven't found, that consistent guy.
No.
Since Shazier and even since Lawrence Timmons. We've not found that guy in the middle of our defense that's always around the ball, no matter if it's a pass or run play, that can get a ball carrier anywhere he is on the field, that can defend the pass decently well.
Mm-hmm.
We have not had a consistent dude at that spot. Granted, this past year was a good sign for that. The likes of Landon Roberts stepping up. Whether they can step up and be that guy for the Steelers, different story entirely. Yet to be seen. Yeah.
I have to say, DeMar Hamlin was that situation was terrible.
That one too. Yes. Yeah. It's up there.
Besides that one, that was the sad. I'm not going to get into what happened that night when I was watching it.
We all know. Yeah.
But I that's one of the only times I've cried during a football game, because I thought this guy was paralyzed for the rest of his fucking life. I was like, not even the team's affected. No, I wasn't being selfish like that. Holy shit, is he going to be able to walk again? And when he came out that draft, Trevor, one of the greatest moments in sports. That hands down one of the most motivational things I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, yep. I've told you many times. I don't know if I've said it on this program, but I have one of those digital picture frames. One of the pictures that cycles through on it is him walking out during the draft.
Yeah. And even if he wasn't a Steeler, even if he was on another team, I would have been affected. It's terrible. You never want to see that. So
yeah. Now he had a lot left to give.
Oh yeah.
But the Lord, called him to do it off the field.
Yes.
Which, albeit, can be in a lot of ways more meaningful than what he did on the field. So,
changed a lot of people's lives through that.
Yes, he has. Yeah. Inspired a lot of people, myself included. So, I do salute him. I tip my cap to him. But selfishly, of course, I wonder. I wonder what if.
Fastest guy I've ever seen on at a middle linebacker.
Oh yeah, just one of the most athletic middle linebackers ever, my opinion. If not for the injury.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But yeah. No,
I told you I was going to make you come close to crying with that one.
His pursuit.
Oh my God.
Unmatched.
Off the charts.
Yes.
Off the charts, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's always going to be a what if. That's a good one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have one for my I have a good one for my NBA, but I want to hear yours, because you probably got a plethora of moments you can pick from.
Curveball for you.
Yeah.
A lot of events would have stopped this from happening, extracurricular activities, but I wish I could eclipse Magic Johnson ever getting AIDS.
That's an excellent thought. Yeah.
That 92 season, I know some people have their opinions on him, whatever.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The way that even Charles Barkley, not calling that a question, he's a great person. He's done a lot for a lot of young men.
Yes.
But his peers that he played with did not want to be around him or be on the same court because of the fucking whole thing. I mean, that's terrible.
This is back when they didn't know as much as they do now about that disease. They didn't know it was, an STI.
Right. But I wish that could get taken away because I think that tainted his career very badly.
Yeah.
And ended it because I think he could have done more. I mean, I know his latter part, but just the way he went out, Trevor, that no. And he's a Lakers great, so it's just how it is. And actually, Kobe's helicopter crash. That's another one.
I was going to give that an honorable mention because to this day, even with the likes of probably the closest thing that's come to me just staring at my television and being in disbelief, probably Franco.
Oh,
that was a little bit more collective sadness, and I could obviously I could sense the Pittsburgh community very saddened by that. Especially that close to him getting his jersey retired on the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception. A lot of emotions bubbled up there, and a lot of emotions bubbled up when I saw Kobe in his in the helicopter crash. I just got done with class. I believe I was a junior. No, I was a senior. I was a senior in college. I just got done with class. I was going to the gym, getting ready to go to the gym, and I get a text from Nate. He just says, "Turn on your TV."
Right.
And I'm just like, why? Why turn on my TV? He's just like, just turn on your TV. And then I saw it, and like a lot of others, I thought it was a spoof.
Yes.
I thought it was a spoof until I cycled through every single channel.
Mm-hmm.
And every single channel, even like the daily news channels were covering this thing.
Right.
The world just fucking stopped. And then I proceeded to, I sat on my couch and I did not move other than putting my hands around my face to sob a little bit and coming back up and going back down. I didn't move for 3 hours, just absorbing the gravitas of the whole thing.
Right. Yeah. No, I'll remember.
Easily the most, other than for the people in my life, the most emotion that I've felt toward something that was unfolding before my very eyes.
Right. Yeah, it was yeah, sitting at, Taylor was still in college, visiting her. It was yeah. And yeah, it just, we're sitting there, and then my phone starts blowing up because everybody knows. And Nate's also a very big Kobe fan. And then, like, why the fuck is everybody texting me? I got 10 text messages. I enjoy it. I love people reaching out, but turn on, same thing. Turn on your TV, and then I'm getting TMZ links and all this shit. I'm like, nah, it's fake. It's fake. No,
a spoof. It's a death hoax. Yeah.
And then and then I actually turn on, I think it was Fox or CNN or whatever the fuck. And then they have it on there going, panning around the mountain there where the hell, and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. And then my mind started going, Trevor, when they said his daughter, and I think, I don't know if other people.
Oh, Gianna. Oh, man.
Thought of this. What was that last 30 seconds before they hit the ground? What was going on in that helicopter? Kobe probably holding her, telling her that he loves her, and knowing that they're going to fucking die.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting fucking chills about it's not.
Yeah.
No, that's probably.
No, it's one of those, people knew exactly where they were. Those that were old enough to be aware, they knew exactly where they were on 9/11.
Yeah. Just had a baby. Just had a baby, Trevor.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Not that, I'm comparing an athlete's death to 9/11. One's a much greater tragedy than the other, and
Right.
y'all can do the math on that one.
Yeah.
But I remember exactly where I was, exactly what I was doing, and exactly how I felt. Even just talking about it right now, it's bringing up exactly how I felt at the time. It's just, it's there. It's always going to be there. It's always going to be in my subconscious.
Yeah.
But yeah. And on to my moment that I would love to eclipse, from sadness to all out anger again. 2019 second round NBA playoffs, game 7. I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And to quote Mike Breen, and this was an all-time great call. I will give him this. It was just at my Sixers' expense. I proceeded then to throw a beer bottle at my door and knock over a metal fan and break that metal fan before I drank myself to sleep for 3 hours in frustration. And it's not just that the shot went in. It's the shot hit the rim, bounced up. I'm thinking, okay, we're going overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Hits the rim, hits the other rim 2 times, and just gently caresses down into the basket for a Game 7 victory for the Toronto Raptors, with Drake going nuts on the sideline. That's another what could have been, because this was when we had Jimmy Buckets. This was before we had signed Tobias Harris over Jimmy Buckets. Jimmy Buckets had just, he was just becoming playoff Jimmy. He just made a layup right before that possession. And Embiid was smothering Kawhi, man. He was smothering Kawhi, man. All over him, hand in his face. Somehow Kawhi gets the shot off, and by some miracle, some act of God, or some act of the basketball gods. Yeah.
Never seen a basketball do that before. So that's where I love. I remember I was watching it with Duck. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we were watching it, NBA playoffs, and I'm like, holy shit! I mean, the fucking no.
Yeah, that one was the easiest one.
Yeah.
Of the 4 major, right up there with the Shazier.
Yep.
That one was the first one that came to mind for me, and that was that in terms of top that I've ever been maddest in my life. It's up there with the Jesse James play.
Oh yeah,
it's up there. It's up there. Just because, and since then, Sixers haven't been able to get out of the second round. Ben Simmons falls apart. We re-signed Tobias Harris instead of Jimmy Buckets. Would have just changed a lot for that organization. Would have hopefully brought the process, as it was dubbed, to a crescendo.
And it was a battle.
But that,
I think why it pisses me, I'm not,
yeah,
I don't mind the Sixers. I hate Boston. I think everybody knows that by now. I fucking hate Boston sports.
Right there with you, bud.
But I think it was just the fact of just what the hell is it? Exhaustion. Like, God damn it! Like, this was a good game, man, and both teams are battling. That's how it's like. I wanted more.
Yeah,
damn it!
No, I know. I know. And you as a casual fan, anyone would want more. But think, and I know I'm telling you to put yourself in my shoes here. I'm being a little selfish right now.
That's
but.
Right.
Combine that with the emotional investment that you had in what you thought was going to be a finals team.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, the whole season, I was watching every single game. And when we traded for Jimmy Buckets at the deadline, I'm like, holy fuck, here we go.
Yep.
And then it ended the way it ended. But.
Bullshit.
Yep, I'm never gonna get over that one. I'm gonna be on my deathbed cursing that one. And to whoever decides to make me a partner for life, you're gonna have to deal with the flashbacks. I'm just telling you right now. I'm just warning you.
Yeah.
I'm just so if I go into a panic attack and just say, you know, Kawhi, yeah, that's why. That's why.
I'm not laughing at. Yep.
I know what you're laughing at. I know what you're laughing at. It's fine. It's fine. We don't have to talk about that while you're laughing. But.
The fact that the other thing though is, I think what's so interesting about humans, still, Trevor, as the sports fans, is we always come back though. You know what I mean? No matter what. And I think that speaks to now the people that don't come back and they jump ship and go fucking be a Warriors fan or some bullshit like that. That now I curse them. I curse those.
I curse them. I curse them. And I think I believe we've discussed this particular element of it, and we have differing opinions on it. I don't mind guys that like follow players to different teams.
I'm okay.
I was gonna say, I thought you were a little I thought you were skitsy on that.
A lot of people are like that with LeBron.
I mean, yeah, a lot of people are like that with LeBron. Guy who we know very well. I will give him a shout out, doing a lot of great things right now in the Ridgeway community. Jake Mercer.
Yes.
Follows Jake Paul. Or no, not Jake Paul, Chris Paul throughout his career.
Right.
So
I don't mind it. It's just, I don't know. I've been more about the team.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta now.
The entity, you know, you're more about the collective and the entity, the organization, more than an individual.
Now, this is where I'm fucked up. Now, if Ben would have been traded from the Steelers at any time or left,
yeah,
that might be very tough right there.
There you go, Drew. Look at that. You're working out your issues on this show. Here we go, bud.
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
I'm not about it. If
you don't seem to be as okay with it as I am, but that is okay. It's okay not to be okay.
Right.
In more contexts than one, it is okay not to be okay.
Yes. But did you
believe it's? Do you have something?
I just had that football side, but I didn't know if you wanted to go to football or you want to stay with.
Oh yeah. You have some football stuff. Yeah, you wanted to cover, and then I'll get into my draft picks. Yep.
Yeah. So T-Von, I hope listen, people. I'm trying my goddamn best. Trevor tries every week to get these names right. Okay, there's some.
Wait. You said he was a draft prospect, right? I probably have him on my spreadsheet here.
Top defensive lineman.
Tavondre
Sweat. Tavondre Sweat. Trevor actually probably talked about him. Top defensive lineman prospect this year's draft. Arrested in Texas for a DUI. Now, here's the little catalyst to this, Trevor. He comes out of the jail with his attorney. Wearing a face mask.
Yes.
And a towel to cover his, you can't identify him. TMZ already has you out, man. I don't know. People already know that we're going to draft you, but besides the point.
No, I'll get into my take on that here in a second, but go ahead.
And then his attorney said in his defense, we're not talking about the incident at this time.
Yes.
Heard his draft stock. I'm trying to remember the kid that had shit going on there in Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. We had a similar situation last year. Jalen Carter, am I mistaken with that?
Yes.
So
that's the guy. I forget what his incident was, but I know he had a run-in with the law of some sort.
So does this hurt him, Trevor? I guess first question. Second question. I don't know how they deal with this when let's say he gets, and I got to look into this more. Guess he's whatever his home state is. I guess he's going to have to fucking figure out if he gets probation or jail time or whatever with this shit.
Right.
But I don't know. But do you think this affects his draft stock, though?
It kind of has to.
That's what I thought.
I mean, unless you are like a top 10 pick and this happens to you.
Yes.
I mean, we saw that with Jalen Carter. It didn't hurt his draft stock. He was still drafted second overall, I believe, right behind Trayvon Walker.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So there was some controversy there. But no, it's weird. Like, off the field issues affect draft stock less and less than they did way in the past. I mean, Christ,
Right.
look at how it affected Randy Moss's draft stock. And what did he do? Smoke weed?
God caught. He had like an ounce of weed, and he got
Yeah. And he fell almost to the end of the first round.
Yep.
So many teams passed on that generational talent. Many would argue, and I would argue too, the second best receiver of all time.
Yes.
We go from that to Jalen Carter still going in the top 3, despite, I believe, he had some sort of DUI situation as well. I forget exactly what it was, but
Right.
how far we've come.
Right.
And whether that's a sign of rehabilitative practices being a lot better, I hope it is.
Yes.
I sincerely hope it is. And teams being more confident and able, willing and able to take in guys that have off the field issues and, try to correct that, help their character a little bit.
Right.
I'm hoping that's part of it.
Mhm.
I'm hoping it's not what I have a hunch it is, and that's just leniency and more favoritism for the talent that's there. So I would say by modern standards, T'Vondre Sweat shouldn't be too hurt by this.
Okay.
And to bring up, the fact that he had a ski mask and a towel over his head.
Yeah, face mask. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Think of why Randy Moss was hurt so much too. They had a face on television in legal trouble, right? They had a face.
Yeah.
Like full on. Yeah. Think of that. I mean, yes, my name. Think of me. I just had a DUI. I'm a major, soon to be NFL draftee.
That's a good
this
point.
Versus this.
Right.
You don't have the image of the guy's face. It's an imagery thing.
Yep.
These sports psychologists, these lawyers, they know this. They're miles ahead of where I am in that department. I can assure you that. And they're miles ahead of most people.
Right.
But no, him covering his face up, that's so they don't put a face to a name per se.
Okay.
The image of him being on television in legal trouble really isn't there.
Right.
Of course, we know the name. We know what happened. There's police reports out there.
Mm-hmm.
But minus this becoming a huge deal and it being subpoenaed, the body cam footage will probably never be seen by the public. And, we don't see his face coming out of the jail.
Right. And I think the other thing, though, I kind of call into question, too, and I'm not saying whatever. I hope this young man makes it and, takes care of his
likewise.
family, whatever.
Yes.
They interviewed Tomlin. Now, Tomlin might be different from other organizations, whatever, but he's going through, he's like, we focus on character when we're doing the draft process. We're doing, their extracurricular stuff. I go to their hometown, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
It's just amazing, though. He's probably still going to go high, Trevor, even though like the big thing with them is character and all this other shit. You know what I mean? It's like
it is at least with the Steelers. I can't say the same about every other organization because I don't know every other organization as well as I know Pittsburgh.
Right.
And I know Pittsburgh, they give a shit about that.
Yes.
They give a lot of shit about that.
Right.
That's one thing that hasn't changed from Colbert to Kahn.
Yes.
Is the consideration of character.
Yep.
We get good character guys in there, bar none.
Right.
Bar none. And as we thought at the time, Kenny was a good character fit. As soon as he's not a good character fit, see you bye. You're off to Philly.
Yep. Yeah.
Hell, we did that with former Super Bowl MVP Santonio Holmes when he acted up. We got rid of Antonio Brown. Well, it's Santonio, he posted the picture and
But no, moving on, though, I just had to say that. But we'll see where he lands on draft night. Make sure to mark your calendars, folks, April 25th.
Yes, sir.
But Buffalo Bills, okay. We got to talk about this, Trevor, because this is very
sure. Yeah. We talking stuff on Diggs? Is that what we're doing?
We're doing Diggs, not going after the Bills. I'm but I want to see your input on what the hell's why now. But yeah, so Stephon Diggs sent down to Houston for a second round 2025 pick. I thought they'd get more than just that for him.
Well, plus there was a couple of late picks that went to went to Houston too. Oh yeah.
Yes. Yep. Okay. I don't have that in
And
there.
Bills only get a second rounder back for that package of those three assets.
So why make the move now?
Well, I think the answer is simple. There's a rift between him and Josh Allen. There has to be.
Okay.
There has to be. We know who runs that building, as we know what player runs that building.
Mm-hmm.
And we know what player is most essential to the Bills' success.
Yes.
And I've said it on this program, as long as you have Josh Allen, the window's open.
Yes. Yep.
He is the most important member of Bills Mafia right now.
Mm.
And if you got a problem with him, you can kick rocks.
Right.
I'm not saying, I don't know what was stirred up behind the scenes, but my educated guess, and from what I've seen in the media and from what I've seen with the arguments on the sideline, there was a rift there. There was a rift there, and the Bills didn't want to deal with that coming into this upcoming season, especially with, and I'm going to cover it here in a minute, the wide receiver talent that's out there. They're going to be able to get some dudes in there and, plug and play. They'll be just fine. Plus, they're going to have James Cook in the backfield, maybe an improved offensive line, be able to utilize the run game a little bit more like they did in the latter half of last season. Play a little bit more of a smash mouth style, even though, we'll see what that means for the defensive side of the ball. But no, on the offensive side of the ball, losing Diggs, yes, big blow. And Brandon Beane, I don't know how the hell he didn't get more back for it. But I think it was a case of we need to get this guy out of here one way or another. Let's do it. Let's get what we can get back.
I don't know if you watched this press conference, but I watched it, and they were poking, and Beane would not give up. But he's just like, it was a mutual decision between both parties. And I'm like, I don't know. I think there's more, Beane. Brandon, come on now. You're not going to tell us. You're not going to tell us.
No, we don't hear what happens behind closed doors, nor should we. Those should stay private.
Right.
But that's just what my gut's telling me.
Mm-hmm.
Something or some things happen to cause a rift to the point where they got to ship him.
Right. I agree with you. But the concerning thing right now, the wide receiver core for the Buffalo Bills, Shakir, Samuel, Shorter, Hollins, there's no one. There's no.
No, there's not.
And the Bills' current cap situation, they're kind of still fucked. They can't really make.
They're still floating.
Yeah.
They're still floating above it, even with the raised cap.
And the one thing he says in there, it's only April, guys. Okay, well, Brandon, the cap's still going to be the same unless you restructure somebody or somehow.
And bear in mind, I think the Bills have 7 or 8 picks in this year's draft that they're going to have to sign. So
yeah, and the
Von Miller, with that.
The Von Miller completely gutted this goddamn organization out of so much money. It just and they're on the hook. Even if you release them, you still the guarantee money is just bonkers. It's just, I'm not giving
whoever Von Miller's agent is, I need to get a hold of him.
I mean, he gets through.
I need to negotiate a higher salary for my tax accounting position. You think he can do that for me?
Right. And then I don't know what fully came out of that whole domestic violence thing. I kind of just strayed away from it, but it seemed like bulletproofed. He was still there. I'm like, who the fuck is his agent? Who does he know that this guy gets this max deal, guarantee money out the ass, and he's also getting away with crimes, and he's still in the field. This is the guy's winning, Trevor.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I just had to throw that out there. We hope to see them make some moves. But Let's see here. What else here? Okay, and I kind of did this list last week a little bit. I still want to kind of dive into Trevor's head a little more, and for you viewers out there,
Sure.
enjoyment. Okay, the Broncos. They got number 11 and 23 overall. Trevor,
Yes, sir.
are they? What the hell are they doing? Are they? They're kind of at that weird spot that they could get a quarterback, but not a top QB in this class. Do they, so
They are a candidate to move up.
okay.
They are a candidate to move up. I can tell you that. And I believe I said on this program last week that they will move up.
Okay.
Or maybe I said that. Did I say that about the Vikings? I believe it was the Vikings.
Vikings.
It was the Vikings. Yeah, it was the Vikings. So I could see them moving up because, as much as I love Jarrett Stidham, not going to cut it. It's weird. They are in that weird spot.
It's just
It is a deep enough draft that it's going to be pretty hard to go wrong with whoever you pick at whatever position you pick.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I'd say they're right up there with the Vikings as a candidate to move up, and they can dangle that later first round pick in front of people. But I don't know. They could just ride it with those two assets and get two key pieces to their future. See what they can do to just plug and play at the quarterback spot, and just like I said, just plan for the future rather than because they got rid of Judy. So might be looking for a wide receiver, might be looking to beef up the O-line. They're going to need defensive pieces, maybe a D lineman, maybe, a linebacker, but no, I don't know. They're one of the teams that I know very little about what they're going to do.
Okay. And then the other team we did not touch on last week, Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
They're also in a very weird thing. I believe Hal went to Seahawks. Am I mistaken with that?
Yep.
So it's still dumpster fire after a guy we don't talk about on here that owned the team prior. What the hell are they doing?
I was trying to think of a name that rhymes with that guy's name, but I can't do it on the spot. I apologize. I was going to crack a little joke. But.
There's a pretzel company.
There is a pretzel company. Those are actually pretty good pretzels. Those honey mustard pretzel pieces. Oh, to die for, bud. To die for. They make those buffalo ones. It's fantastic. They're fantastic. I believe they are of Hanover for whatever reason. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Commandos. They just have the second pick in the first round, right, Drew?
Yep.
Just that second pick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they'll move. I don't think they'll move. They're taking Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
And granted, you're tossing young quarterback after young quarterback in there, but my guess is they see something in this draft, in this class of quarterbacks that they didn't see in Sam Howell. And my guess is they are going to take Jaden Daniels after Caleb Williams gets drafted by the Bears.
Okay. The amazing stat, though, and I think we've talked about it prior, and we did actually that week of week 9.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Sam Howell was leading the NFL in passing yards.
And he was the 5th or 6th ranked fantasy quarterback. He was starting on Jake Mercer's team, I believe, in my league. He was, yeah. So he was doing decently well. He was scoring 18, 19 a week. Didn't have a whole lot of touchdowns, for the fantasy points of it. But his yardage was compensating so much that he was a top 10, like I said, maybe even top 5 or 6 fantasy quarterback through 9 weeks.
Yeah.
It was kind of nuts.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. I guess down the stretch, he forced a lot of things, got himself into a lot of sticky situations, a lot of unforced errors and turnovers, and the Commandos leaving their imprint, this new management, and they're going to do that by drafting a world-class collegiate quarterback, like I said, by the name of Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, they have weapons. Scary Terry's good.
You do.
Brian Robinson's
I love Scary Terry. Yes. They've had Gibson for a while, Logan Thomas.
Yep.
Logan Thomas, honestly, one of the more underutilized tight ends in the NFL.
Well,
Not to the Kyle Pitts level, but still.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Yeah.
I had to say it.
But I think he'll get more involved with Kirk Cousins being there. But
oh yeah, I agree.
But now the other thing, I don't know if we touched on this team last week. Patriots, the house that Bill built.
Yes.
What the hell are they doing now? They're tearing it down. What do you think they're going to be doing here with their draft picks?
I'm kind of in the same boat as longtime Patriots fan Chris Brockman, who's also on the Rich Eisen show.
Oh, okay.
If you don't watch the Rich Eisen show, go watch it. It's vastly entertaining. Mm-hmm. And the one guy has a bunch of like wrestling memorabilia in his nook of the studio, so I thoroughly enjoy looking at what he's got over there. But anyway, guy by the name of Chris Brockman, longtime Pats fan, goes back and forth. He says on the daily whether he wants the Pats to trade out of that spot and get multiple picks, whether it's in the first round or early second round, or if they just want to draft Drake May and get a new quarterback in there right away.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be the thinking. Either or of those. My thoughts, they're a prime candidate if you got a decent amount of draft capital, because they are, like you said, they tore it down. New coach, gonna probably overhaul the roster, tearing it down. So my thinking is they're gonna load up on the draft picks, and they're going to trade out of that spot. With who? I don't know. I don't know if Minnesota's going to be able to trade that high. I'd have to look at their draft capital situation for this year, because I would think the Pats would only trade for this year's capital, perhaps multiple first round, like I said, into the second round picks. My thoughts, they're going to trade out of that spot. The Pats will not be picking at 3.
Okay. And we already alluded to it. This is the fourth team on the list here that I got for you guys. We already alluded to it with the Stephon Diggs thing. What the hell are the Bills going to do? Also, questions now. Probably, Trevor, we know this very well, and I've seen it in person.
Yes.
Bills Mafia is a cutthroat fan base, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They are literally funding the new stadium because of the tax rising in the area. So Bean better have a big draft, you feel? Or what the hell's going on here?
He better have a damn good draft. He's got 10 picks, and he's got to utilize them one way or another, whether that is moving up in the first round or whether that is sticking where you are and making the most of who's there. And as I'm going to get into it, the position that they seemingly need the most is one of the deepest in this year's draft.
Yes. Great tie-in. Great.
Oh, yeah. I could have transitioned that a little better because I'm going to talk about the Bills a little more, but it is what it is. Live and learn. I'll work on it. It's all good. It's all good. But anyway, Bills, they got 10 picks. They're picking 28th overall on the first day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they could figure something out. They need to make some level of a splash, though, in the first round. They need to make a really good pick. And whether that's a guy that is like slipped through the cracks, and a lot of people thought that particular player would go higher, or whether it's a high-end player with a specific need that they have, either way, they got to get somebody, and they got to get somebody good.
Yes. Whether
they're going to use those picks to trade up, I don't know. Okay. Especially with the cap situation, the primary asset that they have to dangle in front of people right now are the draft picks. Yeah. You got 10 picks in 7 rounds. They can move. Mm-hmm. They could easily move. I don't think they're going to move as high as in the top 10. I don't think they're going to make that splashy of a deal. But, sliding up to maybe 18, 19, somewhere in that neighborhood. As we go throughout the draft, and maybe somebody's slipping through that they didn't think they could get before, but now if they move up, they can go get the guy. it's going to be a play it by ear type of scenario. We're not going to have Houston Texans. I think it was the Texans and the Vikings that traded a while ago. I forget exactly who it was, but a very early draft trade that happened like a month out.
Right.
You normally don't see that. Bills are going to be much more of what's going to happen on the day and what can Brandon Beane say to the right people to potentially move up.
Right. Because, again, alluding to his press conference,
yes,
he says, news reporter asks him a question, do you feel you're better than you were after this deal with Diggs? And he said, probably not. No, we're not better today. But come September, we'll be better. So you can't make a promise like that, Trevor.
He's confident.
you better.
Hey, as a GM of an NFL franchise, you got to have some stones, man. And you got to be able to say things like that in front of the press sometimes, especially, confidence in Bills Mafia. Very shaky right now.
Yeah.
Very, very shaky. Losing the likes of who they did on the defensive side earlier in this offseason and now trading Diggs has been much of a nightmare scenario for Bills Mafia.
Yeah.
And how they respond to that is, I guess, bravado and confidence, whatever you want to call it.
I think the love he had was close to Andre Reed. I mean, they fucking loved him up there, even though he
did.
And then last 2 seasons, he kind of lost his fucking mark.
Bear in mind, wasn't an All-Pro until he got to Buffalo, too.
Right. Well, yeah, that's a crazy statistic if you think about it, too.
Yes.
So, it speaks to the pedigree. And yes, Brandon Beane has melons, but Khan has bigger melons. Just want to throw that out there for you beautiful people.
Yep.
That's how big his stones
grapefruits. Grapefruits.
Yeah. Trevor. Anyways, we're going nice tie in here. We're going to go into draft picks with Trevor. Let me get him squared away here real quick. Sorry for you, beautiful.
Oh, please. I'm excited.
Dinsy's draft picks here. We should have had the music already queued. God damn it.
No music? Just me doing random ass hand. Oh, there it is.
Dinsy's draft pick. Funny thing with that, I got a guy from Chicago. I met on Instagram to make that for you, Trevor. So.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Do you know his socials or handle or anything? By the way,
no.
Shout out.
No. We'll talk about it. Very interesting.
Talk about it later.
It's all, yeah.
Did you do something shady?
No, it's all good.
Okay.
He's never had a request like that. I said, just give me a 30-second guitar.
Okay. All right.
For $5. For $5.
After that little story, a preemptive.
Yeah, transaction happened over Venmo for $5.
Oh, there you go. All right. I dig it. I was getting 80s rock vibes from it, and I love 80s rock, so good shit. Anyway, this week, last week I touched on corners, and I actually did not give the most bang for your buck pick. As I recall, I watched it back. I never gave the pick. Been high on this guy for a long time, and I think the Steelers should maybe take a look at him if he falls into the right spot. Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Yes.
Kool-Aid McKinstry at the corner spot. Now, going on to the opposite side of the ball, again, I've been going back and forth between the offense and defense, kind of just, like I said, building a team from the line all the way out. And now we're getting about as far out as you can go. We're talking wide receivers this week. And yes, I know what everyone's thinking. And yes, it's true. It's Marvin Harrison, it's Malik Neighbors, and then it's everybody else. Basically. Obviously, I see Marvin Harrison. He's lit it up for Ohio State for the better part of the last 4 years. Even, like I said, did pretty well against Notre Dame. Easily the first-ranked prospect in this draft. Got the highest draft grade of any prospect in this year's draft with a 95. Bigger than I remember him being, too. He's a 6'3", 209, so a pretty good frame there. and got a draft prospect grade via NFL.com of 6.83, meaning wherever he goes, he's going to be a starter. And he's, in all likelihood, going in the top 4, whether that's to the Cardinals, the Pats, or well, probably not the Bears or the Commandos, but either the Cardinals or the Pats, I would say. If the Pats, don't trade out, he'll be a top 4 pick, far and away. Far and away the best receiver in this class. People comparing him to the likes of C.D. Lamb. And we know how talented C.D. Lamb is and how much of a volume receiver that guy. He can fill it up. Not a whole lot that Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't have going for him. Obviously got the genetics. Peyton and Marvin Harrison Sr. back in the day, just lighting defenses on fire. In this case, I don't think talent's going to skip a generation because Marvin Harrison Jr., he's going to be great. He's going to be great. I don't know if he'll be one of the all-time greats, but he's definitely the greatest in this draft class. Just a couple things that he, I guess, could work on. Like I said, there's not a whole lot that is wrong with this guy, but just struggles with having the blow-by speed to beat pro corners, per se. Other than that, some wasted movement initially in the routes, stutter steps a little bit too much without a lot of substance. So, again, very coachable stuff. But, yeah, and bear in mind, this guy tortured Penn State as well. So as much respite I have for him, he's going to be fan-fucking-tastic.
Oh, yes. Oh, next level shit.
Next level shit. And speaking of this next prospect, he's also on that same level. Malik Neighbors out of LSU. Jane Daniels' favorite target, bud. Little bit of a different type of receiver than Marvin Harrison Jr., though. He only stands at 6 feet tall, 199, so a little more slender, a little bit less of a frame. But he makes up for it with his pure footwork and explosiveness. That's what he's able to blow by corners and likely going to be able to do that from day one at the pro level. Played a much of a vertical style at LSU, and if you're looking for a downfield threat that can haul in deep balls and can track it well, go get Malik Neighbors. He's going to do a lot of good for your team if you're looking to stretch the field vertically. Likely going to go in the top 10. He's the 4th ranked prospect according to ESPN. That is as of when I looked this up 2 nights ago. But a couple things he does need to work on. Precision route running, a bunch more of like I said, a vertical threat than anything. Needs to become a little bit more polished, with the posts and the corners and, the route tree. Needs to become a little bit more polished with that. But and similar to Marvin Harrison, a lot of wasted motion in the early stages of the route. A lot of stutter stepping where stutter stepping isn't really necessary. But again, able to compensate for that with his all-out agility and explosiveness. People comparing him to the current all-stars that went to LSU in the NFL at the receiver position, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson.
Not a bad comparison at all.
LSU becoming very much a wide receiver factory.
Yeah.
Malik Neighbors is next in line.
Yes.
And, of course, I got to talk about the other top 3 prospect that everyone has on their minds. A little bit more of a pro-ready, polished guy than those first 2 prospects, Neighbors and Harrison, Rome Odunze. And what we're really just trying to figure out with him is was he polished because of the system he was in and the guy that was throwing to him, making him look really good? Or is he just that damn good?
Right.
I think he's that damn good.
Oh.
I think he's that damn good. Ideal body for an NFL receiver, stands at 6'3", 212. Again, got a prospect grade of 6.74 and is a year 1 starter. He's going to, wherever he's going to go, he's going to start right out of the gate. Ran a 4.45 40 and had a 39-inch vertical. So he can jump as well as he can run. Very good play strength and an ideal frame. Very good at the jump ball, separating at the jump ball, and especially at the point of what I call the moment of truth, going up and catching the ball in a contested fashion. Very good with that. And he's also good at catching the ball away from his frame. He uses purely his hands, doesn't have to use the body, which can lead to, drops and, mistiming on, trying to make the run after the catch. He hauls it in with his hands, tucks, goes. Done. Undusted. Does that very well. We'll say, though, sometimes struggles with 50-50 balls against more physical corners and needs to work on not rushing through the early stages of his double move. So we saw with the first couple prospects, Neighbors and Harrison, a lot of wasted motion in the early stages of the route, a lot of stutter stepping at the line of scrimmage. Romo Dunze's issue with that is more so in those combo type of routes, and in those double moves, he not able to cut, not able to cut quite as well, and has some wasted motion in that sense. But still, another fantastic comp for this guy, Larry Fitzgerald. We know him very well.
Very nice.
And honestly, one of my favorite non-Steelers of all time, and not because he went to Pitt.
Yep.
One of the greatest humans of all time, one of the greatest receivers of all time. Mm-hmm. So when people are throwing your name around in the same breath as him, I think you're going to make a big difference for whoever you go to. Yep. So we go from those three guys, and those three guys are all world, at least at the collegiate level, all world. And I think within a couple of years, they're going to be all world at the pro level. It's not going to take them very long. But then we go down to the 23rd ranked prospect in the draft. And for reference, Romo Dunze was 7th ranked, Neighbors 4th, and Marvin Harrison Jr. 2nd. So we go from that, and there's a bit of a gap in the first round talent here. Adonai Mitchell out of Texas stands at 6'2", 205, and got a 6.35 prospect grade, which means he's eventually going to be a solid starter in the NFL. So with him, if I can go to my notes here, very quick guy, relies on his quickness to beat man coverage much more so than the hand fighting, which is, just fine. Most teams are looking for quickness rather than the hand fighting at this point in time. And just like Romo Dunze is able to bring in throws away from his body, needs to work on his intensity level, though. Sometimes takes off on some downs and, needs to work on the run blocking a little bit. And at the same time, efficiency within his routes. Tends to sometimes cut too deep on an in route, or, doesn't kind of just fades out to the out route. And, that can lead to some dire situations, or at the very least, him not getting open and being available for his quarterback. But you'll like this comp here. George Pickens of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah. So they're throwing that around with him because he's able to haul in the deep ball very well, works well on the boundary. But like I said, needs to get a little bit more polish in that route running, much like George. As good as George has gotten, it's still a work in progress for him. Mm-hmm. So not a huge issue now, and I don't think it'll be an issue in the Steelers' run-heavy offense. But if you get Adonai Mitchell in the right system, I think he'll be able to thrive just as well. Mm-hmm. So another guy out of LSU, Jaden Daniels' seemingly second favorite target this past season, Brian Thomas Jr. Out of LSU, stands at 6'3", 209, so a pretty similar frame, actually the exact same frame as Marvin Harrison Jr., 6'3", 209. Got a prospect grade of 6.47, so a little bit on the lower side for a first-round pick, but that means he's projected to be a pretty good starter within a couple of years. So with him, again, very good straight line speed, much like Malik Neighbors, able to track and haul in deep balls with great efficiency. And he also led the nation in receiving touchdowns in 2023, so he can be a volume receiver for, like I said, deep balls and even in the red zone as well. So a little bit more versatile than his counterpart in Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors, while Brian Thomas could work as a vertical threat, he could kind of work both ways, whereas Malik Neighbors more of a pure vertical guy. So what Brian Thomas, some of the things he needs to work on, though, what's called route pace, pacing in his routes, as well as salesmanship, faking one way, throwing the corners off, and getting the corners to take one wrong step. That way you get them a half yard behind and you're able to get open nice and easy, all in a ball outside of your frame right there. Needs to work on that. Needs to work on his after burst, his after catch burst, as well as his physicality against tight corners. Another guy that's compared to George Pickens.
Nope.
Yeah, they're throwing that comp out there for a second straight receiver. Didn't think you probably didn't think you'd see two guys comp to George Pickens tonight, did you?
He's an alien.
No, I know he's an alien. I know he's an alien. I could tell just by that that picture where he's standing in front of the TV and he's like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he looks like an alien just in that picture.
Yeah.
Whether Brian Thomas and M. Mitchell will be aliens in a similar light, yet to be seen, but they have that potential.
Right.
And another guy out of the SEC, surprise, Xavier Legette out of South Carolina, the Gamecocks. Yes, I'm talking about a cock. Go Gamecocks.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, this guy stands at 6'1", 221, got a prospect grade of 6.24, which translates to him being an average starter within a couple years. I think he has a little bit more potential than that, but let's kind of get into what he can and can't do here. So this guy, much more of a play strength and possession type of a receiver than a lot of the vertical threats that we saw earlier in my analysis. Described as owning his defenders in space and is able to create space on contested catches and bring in 50-50 balls with relative efficiency to his peers. Very good hands, and he has a good extension as well, a pretty good wingspan, and is able to, again, catch it away from his body. But again, much like a few other prospects that I mentioned before him, needs to work on his release, and he needs to work on polished route running at all three levels. But other than that, he's doing pretty good. He also struggles against tight man coverage, much better at finding gaps in the zone and camping, and then getting the catch and going on an afterburst. Tends to struggle against man coverage. I know Tennessee, in the Tennessee game last year, he struggled a lot against that. I think he only had a couple of receptions in that game because, they played him tight and they shoved him at the line of scrimmage. Needs to work on the physicality a little bit. But a lot of people comparing him to a Kadarius Toney of sorts, hopefully with less drops.
And doesn't line up on the offsides. Yeah.
And doesn't line up 3 inches offside. Yes. Ideally.
Yeah.
And a guy a lot of teams are looking at late in the first round as kind of a flyer, if you will, on the first day, Ladd McConkey out of Georgia. So, and basically, if you think of Wes Welker, that's probably this guy.
Yeah.
He's 6 foot, 186, little, I don't want to say slender on the frame, but not terribly muscular for his position. Short white guy that can run with efficiency, is very smart, has a high football IQ, obviously played for one of the smartest coaches in the college game today, if not the smartest coach. So has the pedigree, has the smarts, and has the work ethic for sure. Needs to, develop some more natural athletic skills. Again, like Xavier Legette struggles against press coverage and man coverage where corners are physical off the line of scrimmage. And at the same time showed a history of deep ball drops, at least in 2022. He improved upon that in 2023, but unfortunately his 2023 season was shortened by back and ankle injuries. So he'll need to, hopefully he's able to stay healthy with that. A lot of people comparing him to Elijah Moore of the Cleveland Browns. So pretty good slot guy that can work in space. And like I said, in like seemingly all Georgia receivers, has a very good afterburst when he gets in the open field. So yeah, like I said, you think of Wes Welker, you think of Julian Edelman, you think of Elijah Moore. That's probably what you're going to get with Ladd McConkey. Probably needs to work within the right system. Needs to obviously be put in a position where his strengths are much more emphasized in order to thrive at the pro level. But if the right team gets a hold of him, I think he'll be just fine. Mm-hmm. And the guy everyone's talking about, because he set a combine record for the 40 time at 4.21 seconds. Ew. Absolutely disgusting. And, rumors thrown around that, he visited with the Steelers. Mike Tomlin likes him, apparently. I'm talking about Xavier Worthy out of Texas. Another Texas guy, potentially going in the first round. He is 33rd ranked overall, which means he could, be an early day 2 guy. And I don't need to analyze this too deeply. His thing is speed. He's fast. I shouldn't. Let me rephrase. He's fucking fast.
Fast as fuck, boy.
Fast as fuck, boy. That's what Xavier Worthy is.
Yeah.
That's what Xavier Worthy is. It's certainly not his 5'11", 165-pound frame that's attracting teams to this guy.
No.
You get him the ball in open space and you let him run.
Get the fuck out of the way. Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Don't even have to. Don't block for him because you're just going to get in the way. Let him run.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the weaknesses a little bit more on the obvious side. Physicality, struggles against press man, and the 50-50 balls, doesn't win a whole lot of those. Works well in space. Works a lot better in zone coverage where he can find an open spot on like a crossing route, or you get him the ball while he's in motion, and he just turns on the afterburners and see you later. That's the idea there. And maybe throw him on punt return or kick return with the new kickoff rules.
Yep.
So that's why this guy is valued as high as he is right now. And if it weren't for those kickoff rules changing, I don't know if he would be. But yeah, you get him on your team. Special teams is going to be a real factor for you. So there you go. He only got a prospect grade of 6.26, by the way. So average starter at the receiver position. But like I said, his special teams upside off the charts. A lot of people comparing him to, and this seems to be a fair comp in my opinion, Darnell Mooney of the Falcons. A little on the shorter side, much more of an afterburners guy, get him the ball in space.
And I told you when he broke that 40 time, one man, and I gave the Raiders their flowers with the tuck rule.
Yes.
I wish they could erase that, but I will tell you, if Al Davis was still alive, Trevor,
yes,
he would be drafting this guy with no other knowledge. Just he's fast as shit.
He's fast as fuck.
Do you agree with that? The Raiders would be drafting this guy if he was alive.
Yes. Oh no, I'm in agreement. Absolutely, man.
But all right, I didn't want to interrupt you there. But
no, you're good. No, he's worthy of being talked about like that.
Yeah.
He's stupid fast.
Aww.
Stupid fast. I'm not going to say what Gus Johnson once said on a live nationally televised football game, but I think you know where I'm going with that. Yes. I will let the viewers let their minds take them wherever it wants to go. And you know what I'm talking about. Hopefully a lot of other people know what I'm talking about too. If just go watch a Gus Johnson compilation on YouTube, you'll see what I'm talking about. It'll probably be one of the first ones that comes up because it was hilarious, and he's the only guy that could get away with saying that.
Right.
So anyway, moving on. I talked about Xavier Worthy for a long time, which I've talked about him for about 20 times as long as his 40 time, but no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
On to a guy named Keon Coleman out of Florida State, 9th ranked at his position, might fall outside the first round. He's only 37th ranked overall. Stands at 6'3", 213, so more of a prototypical NFL type of a body at receiver. Got a prospect grade of 6.25, meaning he'll eventually be an average starter in the NFL. Ran a 4.6, 140, so a little bit on the slower side. But what he lacks in speed and short area burst, he more than makes up for with his size and his high-end ball skills. Very good hands, able to win the 50-50 balls, and very good at winning jump balls and breaking tackles. You can't, especially with, the new hip drop rule, it's going to be very difficult to take this guy down if he gets into the open field.
Right.
Does need to work on, the acceleration and his burst. You can only work on that so much. You got to accentuate the positives with him. Again, got to put him in the right system, which that by the way, that goes for every receiver. You got to utilize, their high-end strengths more than their weaknesses, but that's much more so the case with your seemingly quote-unquote prototypical guys now. Yeah, struggles with physicality in the run blocking specifically, but otherwise is able to win contested catches for you at a consistent rate. A lot of people comparing him to Drake London from the Falcons. So nice little lofty comparison there. I'm going to give my drink a swig here before I talk about this next person because he shares the name of a certain ECC football legend, if you will.
Oh, yes.
Yep. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Fangirled over him and Joe Jacob like no other.
Yep. Amen to that. I once went to a game where he lit up Ridgeway for over 300 all-purpose yards. So
he's special.
Yeah, special talent. I'm not talking about that Ricky Pearsall, but I am talking about this Ricky Pearsall out of Florida. A 10th ranked prospect in this year's draft, stands at 6'1", 189, so slightly tall, but a little bit on the slender side. Got a 6.32 prospect grade, which means eventually he'll be a nice plus starter, above average starter in the NFL. And with him, similar to Ladd McConkey, very good at running routes, very high football IQ, and very good, consistent play speed. Knows the rhythm of his game very well, and is able to adapt his route running and his chemistry with the offense to that. Where he does struggle, though, against press looks, unable to utilize his speed necessarily to get out of those looks, has to rely a little bit more on the hand fighting, and needs more experience working in man coverage. Florida faced a lot of teams apparently that ran a lot of zone coverage, so he doesn't have a whole lot of experience with fighting off the man coverage. A lot of people comparing him to Jackson Smith and Jigba from the Seahawks.
Very nice.
So, again, if put in the right spot, can do very well for your team. And the same goes for this next player here. And I know that well enough because he lit up Penn State once or twice. Roman Wilson out of Michigan. Yes. Didn't quite light us up like Blake Corum, but he's still utilize. I'll just say this: he makes JJ McCarthy makes him look pretty damn good, and apparently makes him look like a top 10 prospect according to a lot of teams. I don't know how, but anyway, Roman Wilson. Only ranked as 70th overall, according to ESPN, 70th. Stands at 5'11", 185, so a little on the shorter side, much more of a slot guy. Got a prospect grade of 6.35, which means if he's put in the right spots, he'll be a plus starter in the NFL. This guy, he's what he lacks in his size, he's able to make up for it with his explosivity and his ability to work in the open field. And, he's able to work pretty well out of the slot, and he's able to stretch the field both horizontally and vertically with his speed. Needs to, like a lot of other guys in this class, struggles against press coverage, unable to get out of that with his acceleration, needs to, do the hand fighting, and his salesmanship as well. Doesn't fake out a whole lot of corners, doesn't have that quick short area burst to get open purely with speed, needs to rely on his physicality and his low center of gravity for that. But a lot of people comparing him to a guy by the name of Marvin Mims Jr. From the Broncos. So, yes. You're going ooh at a lot more of these comps because you actually know these names.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So I've observed. Another guy out of Washington. Excuse me, I'm going to take a sip of water here. I'm talking a lot again, Drew.
You're doing a stellar job, my friend.
Oh, thank you, good sir. I'm going to grab my handy-dandy golf ball here, rub it a little bit, give myself some luck as we go forward in this podcast.
Yes.
Same one that I showed you guys earlier. I'll show the viewers. My neighbor ran over that with his lawnmower. Riding lawnmower, too. Not the zero turn one that Landon Dickerson got. That thing is sexual. I will say that.
Yes.
Yeah. Very nice. But still. Anyway, another guy to Washington, Jalen McMillan, ranked 81st overall, so not too bad. Stands at 6'1", 197. Got a prospect grade of 5.97. He's only ranked 14th at his position. And that prospect grade translates to him being more of a special teamer or a backup, a prototypical backup. So where his strength lies in his long strides and his ability to get open with those long strides in the slot. Much better out of the slot than he is on the boundary. Still with good size. For a slot receiver, relies a little bit more on his leverage and his route fakes out of the slot to get open and get open in space. Needs to work on his catch radius. Any off-target throws, they're liable to be dropped. If it's not right here, if it's a little bit up here, down here. It has shown inconsistencies in the past with those types of balls. I mean, granted, I think part of that is Michael Penix threw the ball 95 miles an hour to everybody, but that's just me. But NFL quarterbacks are going to throw it that hard too. So get ready. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say. Needs to work on his focus on contested throws as well. Sometimes loses focus and is unable to track the ball. Comparisons being drawn to Rashee Rice of the Chiefs, which, again, Rashee Rice by himself, but in the right system in Andy Reid's offense, you put him in positions to succeed, whether it's in the slot or in gadget plays or things of that nature. He's able to light the world on fire. So,
right.
Never know.
But doesn't come with an accident.
Correct. Good one. I imagine that flew over some folks' heads, but
hell of a player though. Stupid decision, but yeah.
No, I know. No, I got you. That's all good. Anyway, next guy I want to talk about. I'm getting a little bit deeper into the draft here. Middle day 2 guy, Javon Baker out of UCF. So getting outside of the primary schools that we're used to hearing about, your big time SEC, Big Ten schools. Talking about UCF here a little bit. Javon Baker, standing at 6'1", 202, got a prospect grade of 6.25, meaning he has the ceiling of being an average starter in the NFL, according to NFL draft analysis. What he does well, he actually had experience at Alabama, working with Nick Saban and that coaching staff before he transferred to UCF. So he has a little bit more pedigree than people think. He just became much more of a volume pass catcher while he was at UCF. Obviously, UCF, a little bit more of a pass-focused offense, and not, you're not competing against other top-end talent at that school. So a little bit smarter of a move for him than a lot of other guys. He was able to show his stuff, and he was able to, like I said, be much more of a volume guy at UCF versus Alabama. Mm-hmm. Showed very natural and instinctive play in 2023 with improved route running abilities. Where he does struggle, though, he needs to slow down in the route sometimes struggles to the break point and instead, doesn't cut or fake the corner out. Instead, just runs through the motion of the route rather than, doing a little bit of stutter stepping. So unlike, your Marvin Harrisons and your Malik Neighbors, which, like I said, those aren't really weaknesses. Those are just nitpicky things that people have spotted. With this guy, it's a little bit more pronounced the other way. He rushes too much. Doesn't do enough at the line of scrimmage to get off his route break correctly. A lot of people comparing him to Josh Palmer of the Chargers. To give you an idea. How many do I got? I got 5 more. We're almost done. Oh yeah, we're almost done. And we're getting into a guy with a famous name. He'll be my second to last guy that I talk about. Yeah, you might know who I'm talking about. It's a very athletic family. I'll leave you with that hint to ponder over these next few prospects here. A little bit of a middle round day 2 guy that I'm looking at on a lot of draft boards is Devontae Walker out of North Carolina. Stands at 6'2", 193. and got actually a prospect grade of 6.19. So meaning he could develop into a steady starter at some point, but is better suited as a backup for the first 2 or 3 years of his career. This guy doesn't have great acceleration off the line, but he gets faster as he gets into his route. So, that means that translates to him being a pretty good vertical threat, and he's still able to track the ball while he's doing that. So as much as you can run vertically, you still need to be able to, haul it in over your head. He can do that. He can do that pretty well. And he showed a lot of improvement on, finishing contested catches. And I will say this too, speaking to the level of a vertical threat he averaged about 30 yards per touchdown catch while at UNC.
Jesus Christ.
Pretty good. Pretty damn good. Granted, not facing some of the top defenses in the country all the time, but still impressive nonetheless that he's able to show off those skills at a D1 level. Where he does struggles in the short area and the intermediate area, so much more of a pure vertical guy than a polished guy. So needs to work on that. Needs to work on the physicality at the pro level, and needs to work on just needs to work on being more polished. Yeah, that's all I had on him. A lot of people comparing him to Alec Pierce, if you know who that is, on the Colts. Yep, Colts. I thought Alec Pierce was going to break out this past year. That was not the case, but we'll see. Much more of a pure vertical threat than I initially thought.
Yeah,
and that basically describes Devontae Walker to a T. And I have experience watching this guy because Notre Dame played the Louisville Cardinals last year. Jamari Thrash, which that's a hell of a name, by the way. Jamari Thrash. I love that name. Love that. I'm going to name my kid Jamari Thrash Dinsmore. I think that's what's going to happen if he's a boy, of course. Anyway, Jamari Thrash. I almost screwed up a name. I didn't. I caught myself this week. I haven't screwed up any names so far.
Yes.
Yeah. These are a lot easier. Less big Samoans in here.
Yes. Right.
Anyway, continuing on with Jamari Thrash, stands at 6 foot 188, so a little bit on the shorter, slender side. Got a prospect grade of 5.91, meaning average backup or a special team role. So this guy, he can work equally well from the inside and outside. You can throw him in the slot. You can throw him on the boundary. He does pretty well at both areas relative to his peers. And he has above average deep ball tracking, decent vertical threat, and is able to haul in on target deep passes, that are at least within his extension. So, and just as well, a unique trait of his in comparison to a lot of the other guys here on extended plays, like Ben used to do all the time when you got out of tackles and all that. He's able to find his way open, which, against the vaunted pass rushers of today's NFL could prove to be valuable, especially if you got mobile quarterbacks getting outside of the pocket, looking to find a guy open. Jamari Thrash can help you out a little bit. Where he does struggle is in his play strength, though, unable to get off the line of scrimmage against physical guys, against press guys, like a lot of other prospects in this draft. And he's a very high risk, high reward type of a pick. Can go on tears, but it can go radio silent for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. So bit of a high risk, high reward, hot and cold type of a guy. A lot of people comparing him to Jaden Reed from the Packers. For reference. Okay. So Jaden Reed, similar type of play style, can get open if you need him to, and is very hot and cold. He'll catch 2 touchdowns one week, and then he'll have 2 targets the next. So, as good as he is.
Right.
Another name that I love coming out of this draft, and yes, I got to talk about my Pittsburgh guys too. Bub Means. Yeah, you heard me correctly. B-U-B space M-E-A-N-S. Bub Means. Out of Pitt. What a name. That's a very nice name. Stands at 6'1", 212. Got a pretty decent prospect grade for his spot in the draft. He's going to be like a later day 2 type of a guy. 5.89 on that prospect grade, meaning backup or special teamer out of the gate. Decently fast, ran a 4.340, a 4.4340. Very good frame, an ideal one for a prototypical late round pick. And he gained confidence, a lot of it, in being a volume catcher in his last year at Pittsburgh in 2023. So where he does struggle is on the comeback routes. Sometimes he takes it too far and is unable to stop on a dime and quick cut to the outside, leaving him exposed to some undercutting of routes, you could say. But yeah, sits and waits a little bit too long and too soon against zone coverage. He'll get to a spot immediately, and then he'll sit there, leaving pass defenders to come in and swat the ball or lodge it free, whether it's via tackle on a fumble or, just lodge it free and cause an incomplete pass. And just as well, his discipline in finishing routes needs to work on that, develop that to a pro level. But when he is good, people comparing him as high of a ceiling as Amon-Ra St. Brown. So another potentially high-end guy if he works on the right things, especially relative to his spot in the draft, but probably going to struggle to get there. Not as polished, doesn't have, as much of the know-how as the pros have. So we'll see. And here's that famous name I was talking about. Did you guess who it was? Very, very athletic family. Youngest, I believe the youngest of this particular athletic family. Went to Rice. No? Luke McCaffrey.
Oh, McCaffrey. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. I forgot.
Yeah.
Well, his brother's with Clark. So, okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
Yes, sir. Yep. Yes, sir. Luke McCaffrey, out of Rice, stands at 6'2", 198. And relative to his position or his rank as a prospect, 150th overall, by the way, actually has a higher prospect grade than Bub Means, who's kind of fallen down draft boards a little bit. McCaffrey's been, even though he's in the later rounds, going up draft boards a little bit. A 5.96 prospect grade, meaning the same thing as Bub Means, an average starter or a special teamer. But relative to Bub's rank at 129, Luke's being at 150, it might be more valuable of a pick even in the later rounds.
Right.
But so you remember how Big Ben used to play wide receiver for a long time?
Yes, he did.
Yes. Yeah, I believe he finished doing that in the early college days or in his high school days, something along those lines.
The coach, when his son was the quarterback.
Oh, yes.
So Ben got, that's a whole nother fucking can of worms, but
Oh, yeah. So Luke McCaffrey had the inverse happen to him. He played QB for his first couple years at school and then moved to wide receiver. Okay. So, he has the mindset of a quarterback. Therefore, I would think has, the timing down, has the chemistry down, has, like I said, the mindset of a quarterback, knows where to be at what time and where the ball is going to be, where the ball is supposed to be on any given route. So I'm thinking, that might translate well to the NFL. If his genes have anything to say about it, I think it will.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He meeting with the Steelers, I believe, Trevor.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's
potential.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Could be a gadget guy too if you need him to be.
Yep.
So, yeah, not that that's his main thing, but he's described as being a fearless in the teeth of the defense and very good at combative catches, which I like a lot. Yeah. I like that a lot. And I like this little quote that somebody wrote about him on the NFL.com website. And this paraphrases, if Sensei John Kreese from Cobra Kai Karate. Fear does not exist in this dojo, does it? No, Sensei. Well, focus drops, meaning his focus during the game, do not exist in his dojo. That is verbatim what the NFL.com website says.
Jesus Christ.
So I love that. I love that. When somebody paraphrases Karate Kid, I get a little tingle in my loins. It's good. I thoroughly enjoy that. Where he does struggle, though, he's more of a one-speed type of a guy. Acceleration is not his strong point. Relies more so on his polish and his know-how and where to be and what to do. And just as well coming back to deep throws on the comeback routes, similar to what Bub Means. A lot of times can be undercut. if that corner is smart and athletic enough for that.
Right.
But a lot of people throwing comparisons around to Romeo Dobbs of Luke McCaffrey.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Yeah, but to me, he's a little bit more polished than Romeo Dobbs. That's just me. That's just me.
Well, Antoine Randall thing going on there, Trevor.
Oh yeah, a little Antoine Randall thing going on. We all love to see it.
Yeah.
Last guy I want to talk about, and I want to give this program a shout out because they competed in what was supposed to be one of the better Pac-12 seasons of all time. Ironically, in their last season as the Pac-12, Jacob Cowing out of Arizona. Very strong season. Very strong season. I believe they won their bowl game too, if I'm not mistaken. So this guy, a little on the shorter side, 5'8", 168, so even shorter than Worthy, if you can believe that, but similar frame and body size, but got a prospect grade of 6, and he's projected to be a day 3 guy. So interesting. I found that very interesting.
Right.
And that prospect grade translates to him having the traits or the talent to be an above-average backup, which for a late-round pick, you say that about him right out of the gate. That's not bad.
Right.
So this guy, what he has going for him, he has 4 years of experience as a starter, both at UTEP and at Arizona, elevated both of those programs to new heights.
Yeah.
Very good short area burst and stutter and go. Not a whole lot of wasted foot movement. Needs to work on the continuity and consistency in his route running. And, he sometimes has some focus drops, especially, when he's in traffic. But a lot of people throwing comparisons around to, and you'll like this one too, it's a Steeler, Calvin Austin.
Very nice.
Nice. So.
Good punt returner.
Good punt returner. And like I said, with the new kickoff rules, could contribute in that facet as well. Special teams going to be a lot more important this upcoming year. So,
oh hell yeah!
Hence why this is projected to be one of the many reasons why this is projected to be a deep draft. You have a lot of guys that you could plug and play in more important spots.
Right.
So, and that is all I had for wide receivers. If you ask me, who's the most bang for your buck pick out of this year's class, I was going to originally go with Malik Neighbors. Because, he was a very polished vertical threat. Mm-hmm. But I like the prototypical type Rome Odunze. I think he's the most bang for your buck.
Rome Odunze. Okay.
Rome Odunze. Yes.
Badass name.
And that's not to say that Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison shouldn't be the top 2 picks. This is the most bang for your buck. That's what I'm getting at here. Obviously, Harrison's the best prospect. Obviously, Neighbors is right behind him. But in terms of value for where they're being drafted, I think you got to go with Rome Odunze.
Okay. Next week, Trevor, who do we got?
Next week, we got a weird combo here, but I had to fit in the running back somewhere, and safety wasn't a very deep position in this year's draft. So I got safeties and running backs that I'm going to be covering.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
Yeah, and then the day before, 2 days before the draft. Y'all have probably narrowed it down by this point. Process of elimination, right? Yeah. We're talking QBs.
Yes. Yeah. So that week, too, for all the beautiful people out there, we will if Trevor's good with it.
I'm very good with it.
We're going to have 2 episodes that week. Primarily me and Trevor on that Tuesday of the week. What the fuck's the week of that?
I have the 23rd marked. That's when we'll be doing that.
Yep, April 23rd for that. And then Thursday, we got the 25th, we got a whole bunch of guests coming on, and we'll have actual footage from the draft. So it's going to be electric. We got a lot of giveaways, too. I'm going to be putting those posts out next week. You can join the giveaways on all our socials. I'm going to do it on my own personal, but also buckle up so we can get a huge, following.
Synergies.
Yes.
Synergize.
We got about 8 potential giveaway winners that can, you can win something. So, I mean, and the prizes are good. I'm telling you, they're better than last year. But anything else, Trevor?
No, I'm good. Other than what's more likely here.
Oh shit! Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm in
My
my
apologies.
golf attire here.
I apologize. Yes.
Yeah, no worries. I would be
I
remiss.
was just about to close this out, and I'm like, "Fuck! Wait, we didn't
No,
leave
no,
one."
no, no, no. Yes. I got to talk about. I got to talk about the Masters, bud. I got to talk
Mhm.
about the Masters.
Yes.
And although we won't see Jim Nance in it this year, I gave a little nod to him at the start of the show. If you couldn't tell,
Yes.
it's still expected to be one of the best Masters that they're supposed to be.
Yep.
Lot of talent, a lot of guys that are hungry to win, and a guy looking to repeat in Mr. Scotty Scheffler. So I must ask you, Drew Billy,
Yep.
what's more likely? Scotty Scheffler repeats or Rory McIlroy, excuse me, finally gets the big one. He's won every other major, looking to get the fourth, looking to get complete the whole cycle of majors in his long and illustrious career. Right now, Scotty Scheffler plus 450 on FanDuel and Rory McIlroy plus 1100.
I think the hunger's there more than the winner from last year, so I'm gonna have to go with Rory. I like watching him. I like his outfits. It's one thing I like about
You
him.
like his outfits.
I
I like Ricky Fowler's outfits a little more, but
I want fucking Tiger to win it, but that's not going to happen. But
he said it himself. He's always playing hurt. It's
well,
it's kind of that too. It's unfortunate the damage that he's done to his body over the years in more ways than one.
Right.
But anyway, don't worry. We're going to talk about him in a second.
Okay.
I'm with you. I think Rory finally steps up, silences the doubters, and I'll even throw a little bit of money on that plus 1100 right there.
Look at
Plus Scheffler playing with some ongoing knee and ankle issues. He's been playing through those and even won the Players Championship on that bad ankle and knee, I believe it is. I'll just say that he's struggling to finish his swings sometimes, but it's still amazing that he's able to perform at the level he is. That he had to adapt his swing to fit that injury. He has, and he's done it very well. I just don't know if he'll be able to sustain that at the biggest tournament in golf. That's just me.
Right.
That's just me. So I'll take Rory. I'll take Rory to finally silence the doubters. I'm with you. So. You mentioned the name Tiger Woods. Of course, I got to mention the name Tiger Woods, too. It's golf. I got to mention Tiger. We don't talk about golf very often on here, but when we do, we talk about Tiger Woods. I tried to talk about his red shirts a little while back, but then, we had a little mishap and some noise was buzzing in my ear that, about pierced my eardrums. That's neither here nor there. That was a long time ago, and I forgive the culprit for that. So, what's more likely? All that to lead into the actual question. What's more likely? Tiger has a bogey-free round in any one of the 4 rounds of the Masters, or he birdies all of his par 5s in round 1. Par 5s being holes number 2, 8, 13, and 5. I don't know the yardage offhand of those. So birdies on all par 5s or a bogey-free round in any of the 4 rounds.
I would go. I go with the first one. I think that's safer.
No, the bogey-free round. They're about the same odds on FanDuel. I believe one was at plus like 950 and one was at plus 980.
Okay.
So pretty close. I like him to birdie all of his par 5s. He usually gets out to decently hot starts, makes the cut, and then on the 3rd or 4th day, his injuries and his long-time damage to his body catches up to him. So I think he starts out hot, and I think he gets everybody's hopes up, gets everybody tuned in for day 2, and birdies all of his par 5s along with some other below par scores. I think he has a good day 1. So, who's more likely to miss the cut after Friday?
Okay.
Guy by the name of John Rahm, big Spaniard.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
Or a guy you might know a little bit less about, but has still been playing very well, kind of having the season of his life right now. Xander Schauffele.
I think the sport. I'm going to go with the first guy, Trevor, and the only reason I'm doing that is because the sport of golf. It's like when you're on, man, you got to
Oh,
ride.
yeah.
You got to ride the fucking wave. So I'm going to have to
So
go.
you think Rahm's a little bit more hot and cold, much more
Yeah.
of a rhythm golfer.
Yep.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. When Rahm is on, he's the best golfer in the world.
Mhm.
He's up. Well, at the very least, he's up there.
Okay.
When he's off, polar opposite.
Sucks.
It's a close your eyes special.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll take Rahm. Schauffele's a little bit more consistent, more of a steady stream type of a golfer. A little bit more of a little bit more exciting of a. If you remember a guy by the name of was it Francisco Molinari? Remember him from a few years back? A little bit more exciting than him, a little bit less conventional, but still very steady stream, very consistent. So I'll take John Rahm to miss the cut. That's all I had for golf. I'm looking forward to the Masters this year.
Oh yeah, no, I'll tell you, and this is just
Yeah.
Jim Nantz in football.
Yeah.
Gets me excited to watch football.
Yes.
I'm watching golf because they have to be in that.
My golf club fell.
I thought you dropped your. Okay, the monotone and the quiet Jim Nantz.
Yeah.
He could do a fucking lullaby playlist. It puts me to sleep, and it's not because I'm bored. Golf is boring. It's just,
he has a soothing tone.
He approaches the green, and I'm like, oh,
hello, friends. Yeah,
this is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like fucking. He should have been. If him and Mr. Rogers, God bless his soul, him and Mr. Rogers were on there together, both calling the game at that quiet tone, top notch.
Top. It's so quiet, it's loud, Drew Billy. It's so quiet, it's loud.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Fantastic
stuff. Goddamn angel. I mean, really.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah. Very much looking forward to that. And we'll see how that cuts into my work productivity, because I'll be having that on in the background and probably reacting to everything that's happened. And as I've already stated, I'm going to be throwing some money at the thing. So
yeah,
I'll have some emotional and monetary investment in that. Yes.
Does viewership go down because Nance is not on the tour?
There's potential for that.
I mean,
when you have a long time voice on there for as long as he did it and as consistently and as elegantly as he did it, there's probably going to be a natural drop. But I still think it'll be an exciting Masters. The talent that's there is going to. I'm not going to say it's going to make up for Nance not being there, because he's the voice of the thing. So
yes.
When you take away the voice of the thing, I don't know who is announcing it this year. I'm just going to turn on my TV and see who it is. But I know Vern Lundquist and Jim Nantz did their last one last year, and that was a big moment. Hopefully there's not much of a fall off, but my instincts say, there's going to be a little bit of one. But like I said, especially when you have that long time of a voice.
Yeah.
That consistent of a piece of the puzzle that is the Masters.
Yeah. And some people are comparing it to Bob Barker going off The Price is Right.
Yeah. It wasn't the same with Drew Carey.
No.
I love Drew Carey on Whose Line, but it just wasn't the same.
No, totally different genre of shit there. But
I
saw that on Facebook, and I'm like, I see what you're doing there. I see that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. People watch, but but nothing else, Trevor? Anything else?
Well, I will say this. I do have a few others.
Okay, fair enough.
And I will say more. This is the last thing I'll say about Bob Barker. It was poetic that he passed at 99. Short as you can get without going over. That's impressive.
Yeah.
God rest his soul.
Yeah.
God rest his soul. I hope I get to heaven and he's holding a microphone and spinning that wheel again.
God damn it.
If there's a Price is Right in heaven, he's hosting. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to the last few I have here. More on the draft. Actually more with football. More likely that two teams outside the top 10 trade up and draft a quarterback, or we see no trades within the top 10 of the draft? What's more likely there?
I'm gonna have to go with this latter second one there.
I like excitement, Drew.
I do. I'll tell you right now, if
like
that
chaos.
happens,
I love
the viewers will get a fucking probably one of the best shows we've had. The reactions.
Mhm.
Fuck it. Let's go with the first one. Let's go with the first one. Fuck it.
Okay. All right.
No.
I swayed you. It didn't take that much,
No.
but I swayed you.
The
I dig it.
viewership is going to be fucking skyrocketing.
Yes. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And then last one here.
Yeah.
Who's more likely to eventually become a richer NFL quarterback? Brock Purdy or CJ Stroud? And I know what my instincts say, talent-wise, but I know what leading a team to a Super Bowl does for your stock as well.
Are we talking just NFL contract, or are we talking incentives? Or not incentives?
NFL contract.
Okay. Not
like
endorsements.
Salary? Not endorsements. Okay. Contracts.
Purdy.
Yeah.
Purdy.
I'm going to go with Stroud.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Stroud. I think he has the higher ceiling long term.
Okay.
That's just me.
That Super Bowl, whenever his contract's up, Trevor,
he's going to get a bump. I know he's going to get a bump, but by the time that Stroud comes around to being at the end of his rookie deal, quarterback deals are only going to get richer. So I would think, well, actually, I shouldn't even say that because, like I said, you got guys like Brock Purdy making, what, $880,000 a year, making Super Bowls. So teams' patience with these rookie guys might not be as great, but if the trend continues, I'll give that contingency. If the trend continues of quarterback contracts getting richer and richer, I think CJ Stroud, by the time his rookie deal comes up, and if he's able to ball out like he did in his rookie year, and he better with Stephon Diggs now, I think he'll have a much richer contract than Brock Purdy.
Okay. Yeah.
And that is all I had.
It was a hell of a show. A lot of twists and turns.
Yeah.
A lot of opinions, rants, laughter, tears.
A lot of emotion.
A lot of emotion in this one.
A roller coaster of emotions, if you will.
If you're to this point, I hope you enjoyed it. And also, something I'm going to add now to the ending of the show. Tell a friend. I'm stealing that from Pat McAfee. But I'm not just telling you to tell a friend. I'm telling you to tell your grandma, your brother, your sister, your weird neighbor that lives across the street. Tell them, tell them about Buckle Up with the Boys sports podcast here. We invite all different types. We don't really touch on soccer, but any other sports kind of able to get thrown on the show. But we appreciate everybody as always. But make sure to tell everybody that I'm not saying go out of your way to talk to someone weirdo, okay? I'm just saying
or if you're comfortable with that, do it. If you're a social bug, if you're a social butterfly,
right.
Rip it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Or, put a sign in your yard saying, watch this podcast. I mean, it would be nice. But we're not running for any campaign here, so we're not going to even get in the yard signs. But we appreciate you as always. Have a good day. Have a good night. Stay safe out there. God bless. Another episode of Buckle Up with the Boys here with your host, DB, host Trevor Dinsmore. Expect next Tuesday be a hell of a show. And then the following week, we got 2 episodes, Tuesday, April 23rd and April 25th, draft night coverage. Giveaway announcements will be going out next week on all socials. So comment below, I want to win, and you'll have a chance to win all the fucking 8 different prizes. We appreciate everybody as always. Trevor,